'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the bothergoves, and the mome raths outgrabe.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Wonderland Wednesday. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm reviewing something that is probably the most tangentially related to Alice in Wonderland of anything that I've reviewed before. And it's probably going to be the most adult thing that I have rated, or will rate. Phoebe in Wonderland, I guess it could compare with that in terms of tangentially relatedness, and maybe in terms of adultness, although I think this one is a little bit more adult. The movie I'm reviewing today is called Jabberwocky. This is basically the Jabberwocky of Lewis Carroll's poem, except that's really all it is. It's the monster, and then at certain times during the film, the poem is recited, or parts of the poem are recited depending on what's happening. But other than that, it has almost nothing to do with Alice in Wonderland or Through the Looking Glass. It's like a Monty Python knockoff. And it feels that way because a lot of the same people who did Monty Python did this movie. So it has connections in that regard. But I haven't seen a lot of Monty Python. But what I have seen, I have found a lot more funnier than this movie. This movie was funny at times. It was one of my favorite things was the way the stupid king was called King Bruno the Questionable, and he was announced that way every time he entered the room or wherever he was going.
Attention, ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. As herald to his magnificence, King Bruno the Questionable, it is my privilege to announce.
That was one of my favorite jokes. And a lot of the jokes were kind of jokes that I like. Dry, British-esque humor.
To free the country, to free the country from the torment and ravages of the
A lot of it was right up my alley, but there was a lot that was not up my alley, such as copious amounts of bathroom bodily function related humor, and not like PG rated to attract 8-year-old boys. This is like adult, really gross stuff that I was not impressed with. I mean, it takes place in the Middle Ages, so I guess points for authenticity, but I didn't enjoy it. The basic premise of the movie is about the son of a cooper, a barrel maker, who is basically disowned by his father on his father's deathbed. So he's basically alone in the world, and he decides to go to the big city to make a name for himself or whatever. And the big city is basically a walled medieval castle. Basically, this guy is extremely unlucky and lucky at the same time because so many terrible things happen to him, but at the same time so many good things happen to him. But then at the same time he doesn't want the good things that happen to him. At the beginning of the film, you realize that he is madly in love with this horrible woman who despises him. As he's leaving his little town or village or wherever he lives, she chucks a potato at him, and he keeps it through the rest of the movie as a symbol of her love. This is how stupid this guy is. Like, people want this potato and he won't give it to him. He's starving to death and he won't eat it. He's just ridiculous. I guess spoiler alert for anyone who's watching this, but this giant monster is terrorizing this land, and through a whole bunch of very strange circumstances, this guy finds himself facing off against the Jabberwocky and accidentally killing it by the end of the movie, which I will admit was done a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Like, you don't see it till the last 10 minutes, which I think is probably smart of them because sparingly was the key way to use this thing. Anyways, this guy ends up accidentally killing the thing, and as a reward, the king gives him his daughter to marry. However, his true love decided, oh, now she wants to marry him because he's this big shot hero that the town loves for saving them. Except now he can't because he's been engaged to the princess. And he's extremely upset about this. This horrible, abusive woman now suddenly wants him when he's famous. And he's upset that he has to marry a beautiful princess and inherit half a kingdom. I guess this is supposed to be funny. This is obviously a weird comedy. I guess I just didn't find it funny enough. I was kind of disappointed by this movie. I thought it was going to be better than it was. But I guess that's the reason that it had faded into obscurity and I had never heard of it. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the greatest movie. I can't really highly recommend it. I guess there's probably an audience for it for people who like weird monster movies that aren't the greatest and dark comedies with British humor. Except there's so much better British humor out there. There are better dark comedies out there. I don't know. This one was I wouldn't watch it again. Anyway, I think that's going to be all for this week's Wonderland Wednesday. If all goes well, I will have a Wonderland Wednesday for the next 2 weeks, after which I will take a break. Like I said in my previous video, I'm planning on doing a series in July. Next week I'm planning on doing a video with Sarah. We did another animated one. I mean, I can't promise that this one's going to be that great of a review either, but I mean, if you liked our other animated reviews, you'll probably like this one as well. So come back next week for that, and we'll see you then. Bye.